Hello there, Gandalf. You summoned me?
We find ourselves in a curious position.
The shade of Isildur was bound to the land where he fell, much as was the shade of Arvedui in Forhel. But here Isildur's shade was kept hidden from searching eyes by the arts of Guthava, the Maiden of the Gladden. Her sorceries made him forget, but as they fall away, I believe his memories will return. He could tell us much of what befell him during the opening years of the Third Age, when he perished in the Gladden fields, and the ring was lost. I and others of the wise have pieced together some of the story, but here we have an occasion to learn the true account, and I would not miss it. But this is not merely an academic interest, Pineleaf, as important as that may be. No, the shade of Isildur may shed some light on another matter that concerns us more directly. I trust you've not forgotten the Black Book of Mordor and the dread Gurgel who seek it? Well, seeing that you're carrying the book right on your hip right now, I'm pretty certain you haven't forgotten it. Yes, I have not yet deciphered all of its pages, but my study did reveal frequent appearances of the name Moggldeer within its covers. Now, the records show an elf named Moggldeer served in the company of High King Gilgalad during the siege of Barad-dûr at the close of the Second Age. Can this be the same Moggldeer? Well, seeing how elf names tend to be unique, that's a good possibility. I think it may be, and the shade of Isildur could help us learn more of him. I propose we return to Tol Sen to speak with Isildur, but not alone. No, let us bring some others who have fought at the siege, and who might help Isildur recover his memories. I speak of two elf lords who have come to the Bjorninghus at this most fortuitous time, Elrond and Glorfindel, both of Rivendell, and both of whom he recently spoke to, if I remember correctly. Yes, bring them word to my intent, and let all meet in the Isle of Flowers in the Gladden Fields, where we will speak with the Shade. All right, fine. I will speak with Elrond and see what he has to say. Hello there, Elrond. Gandalf will like you to speak with the Shade of Isildur on the Isle of Flowers.
I expected these words.
I expected these words when I learned the Shade of Isildur remained bound to this place. I knew it would not be long before Gandalf desired to press him for knowledge of the disaster that befell him after the war. Yes, but Gandalf is also hoping to learn something of an elf called Moggldeer that is frequently mentioned in the book. Moggldeer. I too fought at the siege of Barad-dûr, but I do not remember an elf by that name. He cannot have been high in the councils of Gil-galad, Pineleaf, or I would surely have remembered him. No, that's unfair. Many were the heroes who fought alongside the last alliance, of every kind, elves, men, Durin's folk, and even some of the whole Budlan such as yourself, rose up to oppose the threat of Sauron. I do not claim to know each of these heroes personally. Moggldeer may have accomplished some great feat without attribution. Even if he did not, to perform one's duty without the expectation of glory is still worthy of praise and remembrance. The war of the last alliance and the siege of Barad-dûr that concluded it ended in victory, Pineleaf. But there was sorrow too. The cost was high. Even if the memory returns, the shade of Isildur may not wish to speak of it to us. Let Gandalf gird himself against disappointment if that is so. You should ask Glorfindel if he wishes to accompany us to Tol Send. He also fought in the siege of Barad-dûr, and will no doubt be interested in anything that the Shade of Isildur might say to us. Well, it so happens That's who I was expecting to speak to next. Glorfindel, Gandalf would like you to accompany us to Tol Sen so we could speak with the Shade of Isildur. He wants to find out exactly what happened when the ring was lost.
Margul, dear. The name is familiar, but not for any particular deed or duty.
I remember this Moguldir. He was a warrior in Gil-galad's train, I believe, but one of many. I think I set him to scouting the reaches of Mordor on a number of occasions, but I do not know much else of him. Gandalf thinks the Shade of Isildur may know more? Perhaps, Pineleaf. Perhaps. But something gives me pause. It is Gandalf's desire for knowledge that compels him to pursue this course. He wishes to oppose the will of Karazgar, and he believes that uncovering the secrets of the Black Book of Mordor will prove crucial to that aim. But I do not know that I agree. Sometimes knowledge is buried for a reason, and bringing it out into the light of day only serves to reopening wounds once healed, to renew grief once accepted. 3,000 years have passed since the War of the Last Alliance and the Siege of Barad-dûr, but for my people it seems still near. I remember the grief of those years, and the hurts we suffered. What can be gained by dwelling upon the sad tale? Sauron was defeated, but at great cost, and not forever. I fear that what the Shade may say, Pineleaf. He was once the son of Elendil, High King of the Númenóreans. But that was long ago. He has spent the centuries since then in darkness. It must have left its mark upon him. I will go with you in friendship to Tol Sen, but I urge you and Gandalf to treat carefully with the Shade, and to guard against sweet-seeming words. He is not what he once was, and I fear Gandalf may let the pursuit of knowledge blind him to that fact. So, next we head to Tol Sen. I have made it to the Isle of Flowers with Glorfindel, Elrond, and of course Gandalf, and our friend Isildur over there.
We must learn what we can from this shade. Let courtesy guide your words.
Be courteous, for such windows on the past are rare and must be carefully opened, lest they close for good. Ooh. Right, well, let's see what the Shade has to say about this. Hello?
The bonds of sleep in which I was held have loosened, but some still remain.
Greetings to you and your companions, Pineleaf. The bonds of sleep in which I was held have loosened, and many of them have already fallen away. My memory has begun to return to me, but slowly. There are still gaps in my recollection. But know this, if you aid me, I will do what I can to help you in return. I ask for only one thing. I ask for vengeance. Nay, not truly, for the target of my vengeance must be long vanished. I ask for peace, for a settled mind. I cannot yet remember the ambush that brought me low and ended the lives of my sons, but I know it was not the work of orcs alone. I was betrayed, though I cannot see the face of my betrayer. I ask that you help me learn the identity of this traitor. The passage of time has brought him beyond my reach, but I will not rest until I know the reason for his treachery. In that I will take some comfort, and find rest. What do you say, friend? Very well, I will do what I can. Besides, I think that's part of what I want anyway, is to find out who did it, right? Then my memory is yours, Pineleaf, and may the empty spaces of my recollection heal and provide some knowledge that will be of use to you.
What is it you wish to know?
I asked the Shade about an elf named Maglodir who fought in the last alliance at the end of the Second Age. Was it the last? He responds with a grim laugh. We called it the Great Alliance. It took years to assemble enough soldiers from many different lands, and yet more years spent in fighting. We thought it was the end of the world. It seemed the world will last forever. I knew an elf named Magoldir. He befriended my sons, if I remember right, and fought alongside them during the siege of Barad-dûr. And there was another too, a warden, the same as you, who adventured with my sons during the last days of the war. Yes, let me tell you of what I remember of this warden, and though those words you may learn something of use concerning Magoldir the elf. But before I tell you the tale, you must first need to recover something. The orcs spent countless years delving the muck of the Gladden fields, and they brought the things they found to the various camps in the area. Go to the encampment southwest of here and retrieve a weather-stained coffer from within the camp. Its contents will refresh some of my memory, and then I will speak to you of the warden who befriended my sons, and was allied with Moguldir, the elf. Very well. I need to find a weather-stained coffer in the area that is now Sharky's Slough. And we'll see how that helps to tell the story of this warden. And also, perhaps, tell us the story of Moguldir. Here I am at Sharky Slough, and there seems to be a slew of enemies here, that's for sure. Well, let's first take care of this one, and her little dog too, apparently. Lots of enemies! Let's take care of this one. And deal with her. Then we can see if we can find this coffer that could be somewhere around here. There you go. Nice and clear. Now, where is the most likely place? Oh. In here, most likely. Maybe I should ask this. Hey, have you... Yeah, I think I found it. Never mind. Thank you for being so obliging. We don't want too many of these at once, that's for sure. The patrols are... quite plentiful today, I see. Yeah. Go away while I take your coffer. Shh, be very quiet. There you go. The dented coffer is caked in mud, ravaged by passages of years. Alright, let's get back to Tolsend. Back. And this looks like a good place to put the coffer. There you go. Hello, Elrond.
This is very interesting.
Very interesting, Pineleaf. The half-orcs must have pulled the chest from the mud as they scoured the Gladden fields for treasure. Elrond opens the lid of the coffer and examines the items within. Old pieces of equipment, small trinkets, and time-worn artifacts of unknown value. Curiously, the armor is very close to hobbit size, and would fit your own hobbit proportions with little difficulty. These tidings, no doubt, possess some meaning to their owner. Elrond continues, but to the half-orcs they would have seemed to be of little worth. The chest must have remained in the mud of the Gladden fields, forgotten and ignored, for many years. Yeah, I don't think the half-orcs have much use for old hobbit equipment. I hope that's what you were looking for.
There was one such as you who befriended my sons and fought alongside the Great Alliance.
Yes, this box contains all of my friend's possessions. After the war, she came north with us on that doomed road and died there. But I could say much of her story before its ending, and you may learn something worth knowing of Moguldir. As I speak to you of times long past, you're welcome to take as reward whatever items you will. She was a warden, the same as you, and she would be pleased for her possessions to be once again of service of the fight against evil. Take a close look at these memories of the Great Alliance, and I will speak to you of the siege of Barad-dûr. After Dagorlad, the Great Alliance threw down the Black Gate and marched into Mordor. But victory would not come swiftly. The siege would last for 7 long years. So starts the memories into what happened in Mordor. What will we learn as we begin to explore the memories from long ago? Will we learn what happened to Moguldir? Will we learn who betrayed Isildur? We'll begin to answer that in the next episode of A Tale of Two Pine Leaves.